welcome back to the HGC. It is time for our final European match of the weekend, and it's for all the marbles as we get ready for BlizzCon. My name is Trixler. Over there we got Caldor. You ready, buddy, to figure out who's going to be our second seed?
Finally. I was waiting for that match for way too long.
It's been a couple weeks, and we're just like, all right, can we finally know what's going to happen here? As we prepare for the playoffs, Team Liquid today is playing against Method, and Team Liquid right now is slotted in for the second slot. All they have to do is win today against Method. If they lose, Fnatic, who just earned a victory over the Monkeys, will move up and take the slot of BlizzCon.
Exactly. That's all it comes down to. This is for BlizzCon qualification, and we're going to find out if they can pull it off or not.
Here it is, the schedule. Earlier, Fnatic able to take the Monkeys on and earn a 3-1 victory. Monkeys just surprised with one map, but it wasn't enough to win the series. Method and Team Liquid is up next, and of course later on, North America coming at you. Heroes Hearth and Simplicity and Team Octalysis versus Team Freedom to end out your weekend.
And also today is the last day of stage 2 of our tier system. So we're actually pretty close on the second reward as far as I know.
1.35 million, I believe?
Something like that, yeah, but we're not quite there yet. So we have seen a couple of fantastic games throughout the weekend, and we're going to see also now a Liquid versus Method going up. So if you want to cheer for your teams, make sure to do that. I actually think that Leftovers was surprisingly low in those tier standings. Yeah. That shocked me a bit, considering how much they've stepped it up throughout the year, and also how just happy these guys are whenever you talk to them, whenever you see them on stage. So if there's a couple of Leftovers fans out there, time to show that. And we are going to head into game number 1.
I'm ready for it, man. Team Liquid and Method to face off. Let's check in with them before we start the series.
Okay, so we are going up against Method this weekend. It's actually the last match of the whole European HGC, which is gonna make the match even more hype, I think. Since if we win the match, we are actually qualified for BlizzCon at the second seed of Europe. So we are gonna give it everything this week to prepare. So I think that we're gonna come out on top, because I think Method are in a kind of a slump these past few weeks. They haven't been playing as well as they have been during the past. So we're for sure not gonna come in the match underestimating them. But I think that we should have the upper hand going into this week's match.
Well, from what we've seen from Team Liquid, it looks like in this part of the season they look way worse than they did before. I think there's still some stuff that we have to improve on a lot, and we're mostly preparing for playoffs already. But for us it's also important to win versus Liquid, because we would rather play versus Liquid in playoffs than versus Fnatic. Even though both us and Liquid are doing way worse lately, I think we can take the match.
A slump is an optimistic way to put Method as of late. Their last 4 matches they have lost on, and they almost lost the 5th match actually 5 weeks ago, or a few weeks ago, when they faced off against Monkeys and barely pulled out in game number 5. Method right now has been having a hard time. I don't know if you can put it on one player either. You have a Thero on one side not making the plays that he used to, Curson getting picked off a lot. ADRD's been a focus for a lot of teams when it comes to the banning, and they just haven't found their rhythm again, and I'm wondering if today they can finally deliver something against Team Liquid.
I mean, we know they can do it.
Yeah.
We've seen that. Then when the team formed back together, they were looking fantastic. That third ban definitely becoming a bit of an issue for them. Yeah. But at the same time, it's more so on an individual level every single week that we see problems coming in. And that also them as a unit has to simply change. But we know they are capable of doing that. Today is a good chance for them to show that, since this is where it really matters. As we heard before, it isn't so much about them moving up in the standings, but they can literally now shape the playoffs and say, okay, if we win today, we go up against Liquid in the playoffs, and we are just way more confident that we can take those guys down than beat Fnatic, who have been on this upward trajectory the entire phase. So for Method, definitely also quite a bit on the line here, and it's also, they want to prove themselves right now getting into the playoffs. If you start that with another loss, if you get wiped today with an 0-3, that's a horrible start into a playoff scenario. But if you win against Liquid all of a sudden, and you're also making your own playoff run maybe a bit easier, then you go in with a lot more confidence.
Let's do it here. Battleground number 1 ready for this best of 5 series. We are going to Towers of Doom. Method with a choice. Team Liquid will be first pick. Dragongyre has been banned out. That was banned by Team Liquid. And Sky Temple banned by Method.
I'm ready to go. I want to see what happens here. Towers of Doom is a map that we have seen Liquid pick a lot in the past too, so let's see how Method can perform here. They had a slump. Was it enough to train this week to make sure that they are back to business right now? That's what it all comes down to. It starts with the draft, but of course the performance within the game. I feel like map number 1 is going to tell us a lot about this entire setup.
On the other side, Team Liquid too, proving that they deserve to have that BlizzCon slot. Sure, they had a great Phase 1 Part 1 and did great there, but this Phase 2, or Part 2 of Phase 2, hasn't been really the nail in the coffin they were looking for. I don't think everyone is convinced that Team Liquid is the best representative to go to BlizzCon and represent Europe, so we need to see them come out and be clear.
A lot of their position just hinged on their performance in Part 1 of Phase 2, and there's no doubt about that. So a big victory today would definitely be quite important, because you've seen a lot of the players echo in interviews and also on social media, on Twitter, just saying that they feel Liquid is just way worse right now than Fnatic. Everybody is saying like, well, we don't want to go up against Fnatic in those playoffs. They're too strong. We would rather go up against Liquid. For Liquid, this is a fantastic opportunity to shut those sentiments down and say, okay, we come out right now, we are going to body method, and we're going to show everyone that we deserve that second spot outside of our Part 1 performance, but also when you're looking at Part 2.
So far, statements being said already by both teams as they draft quickly. Genji and Hammer ban for Method. Team Liquid answer back with typical bans you have against Method. Abathur and Medivh, and Team Liquid will slot in Tyrande as their first pick.
Liquid with the 80 Arty bingo again. Just getting rid of all of that. First picking Tyrande here immediately. And now this is the important one. How is Method going to play it? I expect at least, if you don't take the Haka, I would say Urel either way for Ethereal. I could see the Haka as an adjustment, but I would be surprised to not see at least Urel making it into the 1-2. And she's not making it. Instead, we have that Maiev pick and a Diablo taken. Could have seen the Maiev together with Urel, but apparently right now we're having Ethereal in the spot where he says, like, boys, I'm fine. Don't need Urel here. We're still good.
Just give me something to run the top lane. Both these top laners, Ethereal, are willing to run to Haka, Urel, based on what I'm going to. The one thing they have to worry about is a possible ban coming in from Team Liquid, but Ethereal says he's ready to handle that. So we have a strong, engaged composition for Method.
I mean, even with the ban, okay, it's not even going to become an issue because there's no side laner taken for Liquid, but let's say they pick Urel, they ban Outblaze, you still get the Haka, or vice versa. There's 3 around that are excelling on the battleground, so they can definitely play that. But instead we're having Billy's Garrosh again, and we're seeing Reyna also in that mix. So, optimistically, I mean, cautiously optimistic for both teams here. So far, I really like this. My FDR upload composition already threatening quite a lot. We still have access to a good offlaner, even banning out Urel at this point.
I like this actually, because now you put Team Liquid in a spot where they have to either look at banning Dahaka, who's one of the go-tos, or even think about banning out a Decker Kane, which would be good with Diablo and Maiev. They decide to actually go into a Phoenix ban.
Liquid can't ban a side laner.
Yeah.
If they ban a side laner right now, then Method takes the third and leaves them on the offlane, let's say with a Thrall. And while Liquid loves to play Thrall, when they play it, they usually want to play it in a triple melee setup, and they wouldn't be able to get that. So now we're going to see Method taking that solo laner. Blaze and the Haka both fit. It's just a different style of playing, how you want to run the map.
Here we go. Mephisto.
And Whitemane. Oh, very... Okay. Really delaying that offlaner here. I mean, again, there's still 2 great ones around, so that's not a problem at all. Method just signaling, listen, we're fine either way. Like, no matter which one you take, we're going to be okay with it. But we really want to make sure that we have that Mephisto and Whitemane. And we talked about how Mephisto is going to be a huge part of especially this match, because these teams, they are going to give it their all to win this.
And I don't think we've seen a competition quite yet with Mephisto that is so all in on the idea of we are going to engage, we're going to force a fight with a lightning breath coming out, Mephisto being able to drop down the area effect damage, and Maiev tethering people into a Warden's Cage. They have an amazing team fight, especially when they're trying to force things around Sapper camps. They have so many quarters they can control.
The Haka for Eternal doesn't really shock too much either. I mean, he has been fantastic on the Euro. He's played last weekend with the Haka. It was absolutely fantastic to see him just land every single tongue, setting massive plays up for his team. And a Zeratul for Ethereal. Alright, so a lot of combo potential now. Even a potential Apocalypse together with Zeratul's Void Prison.
Yeah, Zeratul coming in here too, also just to say, okay, my job is to soak here and make sure that we don't lose on experience. I want this 4-man to be together consistently. Zeratul being able to soak between double lanes should be able to handle Dahaka, who is rotating around. It's not quite the global you're looking for, but he's pretty speedy.
I mean, I would be shocked if it's Lightning Breath for Diablo. I mean, look at the setup. You have a Warden's Cage, you have the Maiev, you have a Void Prison to set it up, you have the Cage to set it up, then the Apocalypse coming in. Mephisto getting a lot of value here. Zeratul, I mean, From a sustain perspective, maybe from a safety perspective, Play is the better pick here. But if you want to go for aggression, if you're going to force more engages, and if you are really feeling that you have the capabilities of making the hero shine, then Zeratul is a fantastic hero in this setup. The more traditional pick would have been a Blaze. Blaze has a lot of good arguments in his favor, but that doesn't make Zeratul bad by any means in this setup. It's just a way more confident pick.
I think you're a little bit worried with Kayn being on the opposing side. We've seen Stay a While Listen a way to punish bunkers that are coming out. Hyperion can be also a rotation out to make sure that that full combo that's coming towards them is something that Team Liquid answers. So Zeratul, at least this way, gives you that aggression that you were talking about and really accelerate the speed in a fight. I think both would have been fine options, but I think Method wants to come out firing.
And Tyrande has to be very careful against the Zeratul too, so especially later on in the game. But yeah, guys, we're getting ready. This is going to be pretty hype because, again, if Liquid wins, they are qualified for BlizzCon. If they lose, they will have to fight their way through the playoffs, and Fnatic will take that direct qualification spot.
I mean, either way you look at this, statements can be made by both these teams, and they both need to make a statement desperately right now, because both these teams are teams that, coming into Phase 2, Part 2, we expected to be at the top of the food chain. Fnatic had to barrel their way through here, but Fnatic has taken a slot way over them.
Any result here would be a statement. 3-0 from Method, they're back from the slump. 3-0 from Fnatic, yes, they deserve that second spot. Either way, this is going to be great, and we're going to jump right into it. ADRD in game number 1, playing on Mephisto. Bad Benny on the front line with Diablo. Nick on Maiev. You see Athero, of course, on that Zeratul. And Curson finding himself on Whitemane.
On the right side, Team Liquid looking for that second slot. Hasuab's on Raynor, Eternal on Dahaka, Arcaner on Tyrande, Sportphilly on Garrosh, and Nurok to play Decker Kayn.
Mephisto, the only range damage on the side of Method. Zeratul, Maiev going to try and aggressively jump in. Bad Benny in the same position here, going on level 1, straight on the Feast from Fear. And let's see how Liquid's going to play this. All eyes are on them right now, and of course the big question that still remains is how well does Method do here today after they struggled severely throughout the last few weeks.
As mentioned, the two people that I'm looking at when it comes to Method will be Curson and Athero. I want to see those plays that I'm used to from those two players. They just haven't quite been in the last few weeks. Nick, I feel like, has been performing the entire time these last few weeks. He's always been that silent, deadly assassin. Over on the Team Liquid, though, we'll be keeping an eye on Eternal. As you mentioned, the Dahaka that we saw a couple of weeks ago really set them up to earn a couple of wins, and he'll be pivotal in this series.
Pursuit of Vengeance is level 1 talent on Nick, and as you said, he's still performing on a very high level here. That German efficiency coming through in those plays, and he needs to be extremely efficient today. We also have an adjustment in builds, level 1 on the side of Mephisto. Talent kind of reflecting the state that Method is in these days. Anger being chosen here over the spell power.
Really trying to roleplay that Lord of Hatred. The idea being behind it, if you can work in some auto attacks, that Lord of Hatred is going to be able to get that cooldown reduction coming in there. It's 0.75 seconds, I believe, on every basic ability. And of course, you can pick that later on for Heroics if you want to at 13.
Yep.
But the idea here is if you work in some auto attacks, you're able to keep those abilities going up. And typically, when you go in for a Shade and you drop down your Ring of Damage, you're able to at least get 1 to 2 attacks in, which could really bolster that out.
That's the moment you forget how the ability is called. Your Ring of Damage.
The Shade of Mephisto, right? Yeah, it's Ring of Damage, man.
Lightning Nova, yeah.
Lightning Nova. There we go. Well, here we go.
We've all been there, but it's like that's always the funny part when you then on the spot have to come up with something new, and that's where the best talent names are being created.
I mean, it paints a picture in your head, right?
Yeah.
Ring of Damage. Sappers cleared up in the bottom, so Team Liquid is fine, doing their own Sappers as well. So a pretty stable setup for both of these teams. You can really feel the tension between them.
Static Barrier comes in, by the way, on level 4 still from Mephisto. I'm really going to keep a close eye on what ADRD is going to choose here. I mean, the level 4 talent is pretty much the standard, but given that ADRD really likes to deviate in builds quite often, and that already he made a bit of a different approach on the level 1, which gives him the synergy on 13 that you pointed out a bit earlier. We're going to keep our eyes on that and see if he makes further adjustments with the build. Outside of that, nothing really happening here just yet. When you look towards Whitemane, it's again the Clemency on level 1 and the High Inquisitor on level 4, so going into Inquisition. It's something that we've seen most of the time. The Desperate Plea was at the beginning more so the focus for a lot of the Whitemane builds, speccing heavily into that Q ability. We are now seeing Inquisition being focused. Also focused, Sportbilly for a bit here, but not really a damage follow-up just yet. I mean, Method really wants the opponent to clump and then execute a combo, and that's going to become even more pivotal after they reach level 10 abilities and can rely on their heroics.
Lack of rotation from Method here, as they actually hung out in the middle against Team Liquid, making sure that Dehaka would commit to the idea of the ult in the top right. Zeratul did the same. Finally, the bottom altar is grabbed as Zeratul went ahead and continued soaking. Method staying away from the idea of fighting too much. While they do want their opponents to clump up, that'll require Maiev to be forcing the engage, but it also gets better and easier to pull off at level 10 when the heroics come online.
Yeah, I honestly believe that Method is going to try and avoid any big fight before level 10 because the heroics are just such a huge game changer for that composition. I mean, heroics are always a game changer. It's always like the biggest power spike that you're going to have in the game. But Method's composition is really looking a little bit weak against what Team Liquid has here outside of those heroics being part of the game. So for Method, the combo and synergy is something that you really want.
I mean, you have two heroes there that you're waiting to ramp up when it comes to their talents as well. You have both Zeratul and Diablo, who's wanting to finish up their souls and such. So just naturally you have that progression going in. Where you look at Team Liquid, and they have an immediate setup right away when it comes to synergy. That the Garrosh throw into a Toronto Luna Flare. And speaking of a setup, Sportbilly comes in for an evade with Dehaka showing up. The Thurnal comes in for the drag, but instantly Curson will make sure to cleanse that out. The Sappers are taken.
Nurok is down.
Falls.
Nurok down. Bad Benny, the counter kill, maybe, not quite. Sportbilly trying to reach him, but that's not happening, so we are seeing the camp stolen, but that's a kill against the Liquid here. But it already showed two things. Liquid, first of all, wants to force the fights right now. They are also aware of that power spike on 10, and they're saying, guys, right now we're so much stronger. If we go in, we're trying to aggressively invade, so they're trying to make that play. But Method can still coordinate around that when they're getting attacked here, especially as you could see the aggression towards Deckard Cain. So it's a good kill for Method, but they are still looking towards heroic abilities so they can set off synergies.
2 levels away from that, we're going to have the 2 altar phase. Should be seeing a 1-for-1 trade between the two, especially if you look at the positioning here. You have Tyrande and Deckard Cain in the bottom. There is going to be a owl that comes out, but that was intercepted by Diablo in the middle, so Cursing gets the full channel. 32 shots here for Team Liquid, 28 for Method after it's all said and done.
Ghastly armor on level 7 for Mephisto, so going into the extra armor here with the shade of Mephisto that we're going to see from him. Also, we are seeing Curson with Intercession, so going for the cleanse here. Definitely needed against what we're seeing from Liquid, with that drag coming out, the isolation, the Tyrande stuns, a lot of tools that Liquid has where Intercession can get a lot of value whenever Curson is ready to cleanse it out.
Still building towards that 10 right now. 3/4 level here for Method. Still waiting for those heroics. And the more that you mention the APOC in draft, the more I continue to think about it. I think I might actually like that full attempt at a wombo combo with the VP coming in. I see both being pretty effective, but if you want to make sure you shut down that Rainer and you get him locked down, that's one way to go for it, especially with Tyrande being a squishy target herself.
Shutting down things. The attempt to shut down Eternal here doesn't quite work out, but it at least relieves him of all of the essence that he has. Nearly a kill there. But yeah, good play by him. Decent drag too, hitting the perfect target in Thero, making sure that Zeratul doesn't get the additional attacks, and that could have been the end of him. There's the Void Prison. Are we going to get the APOC? A lot of synergy around that. Cage comes out. It has to be APOC. I mean, you can make arguments for Lightning Breath too, to be fair, but there it is. Apocalypse has been taken. We have the Scarlet Aegis. Void Prison for the setup, the Consume Souls. The stage is set for Method to engage into big battles.
Clump them up and blow them up. That's the plan for Method. Hyperion does come in for Rainer. It's going to be helping with that disengage. Bad Benny actually goes in for a charge, and he's able to get on the back line and go for the escape. So Hyperion used early here, but so was the Aegis for Whitemane.
Yeah, you don't want to fight here if you're Method. You don't have everyone around. Bad Benny losing the souls would be a problem, but he still keeps himself alive. Cage had to be used too after earlier the Hyperion. I mean, Liquid basically blew nearly everything, but the combo with VP and also Apocalypse is still up for Method. So that's a big part of their idea how to play the team fights now, and they still have access to it. But we still see, of course, Nurok on his Deckard Cain with a stay a while and listen, so he has a chance of interrupting that whenever it comes out.
Yeah, you know Nurok is sitting back here and waiting for that VP to come out. He wants to make sure that he can stop any follow-up that does happen if Team Liquid gets caught out. They're even pre-splitting just to make sure that Ethereal doesn't get the prime opportunity to set this up.
I mean, the double support setup that we're seeing for Liquid can be incredibly powerful to keep Hazo-Ops on his Jimmy in play. And at this point, Method even giving this up, saying like, guys, just wait, it's fine, let's go into the late game. But here comes the APOC. Where's the follow-up? No APOC being used. The VP came in, sorry, not the APOC. The APOC actually delayed, so they're not going for the engage, they're saving the cooldown. They just don't feel that they can get a kill here, and they just wait a bit longer.
Arcana showing off that Lunar Blades. When you pick that up at level 4, you can see extra range on Lunar Flare by 50%. Able to hit that straight on top of White Mane, which allowed for Garrosh to step up and drop that taunt, which forced out that VP. But again, Team Liquid keeping up with those layered aggressive plays, actually get another lead here, 32-24, and they stay on top of Sappers.
Method is still ahead in experience. I think from their perspective, they're still in a decent position here. The late game is, I feel like they're scaling extremely well, around Zeratul in particular, but also Mephisto. There's a lot of really cool plays for them later on as the game progresses and they get more talent spikes. They need to make sure, though, that they don't fall too far behind. But at this point, it's 8 points on the core. It's still absolutely fine.
Daka starting to become a thorn, though. As he pushes in that top lane, Zeratul meets him, gets experience in the middle. That's where you're actually starting to see that experience lead starting to come in here for Method. Not many kills between these teams, but with Zeratul able to cleave up thanks to that rendering cleave at level 4. Yeah. They're able to keep it up.
I mean, not many kills. Like, yeah, the one kill earlier against Deckard as Liquid invaded, it was literally the only kill of the game thus far. But the combo is there again, and at some point Method is going to group up as 5. They're already threatening Eternal here, forcing out the Essence. And everybody has to jump away as Eternal is looking for the drag. If he connects that, that would be a bit of an issue. But here comes the aggression against Mephisto, and he goes down. And it's the perfect moment in time, just as the ult is about to spawn, and Liquid once more.
Liquid once more. Here comes the APOC, though. Full combo straight onto Tyrande. Arcana gets the double heals out and attempts to retreat. Will it be enough? Yes. In fact, he's stepping up to work in those auto attacks. Curson is the next target for Sport Billy.
Down he goes. Whiteman eliminated. They're trying to go for Bad Benny. There's the drag right after the stun, and 3 down as Method loses 3 heroes. Nick at least tries to go for the channel down here because the rest of Team Liquid is already working on getting the boss. But at least they're getting a channel.
Consume Souls used just to make sure Narok cannot delay that anymore. Boss picked up.
To be fair, this could have been a lot worse for Method. I mean, all things considered, you lost 3 heroes here. You lost a bit of the lead and experience that you had. But it's still a pretty much even trade in shots on the core, so this could have been way worse after losing 3 heroes.
Still manageable, that's for sure. Team Liquid happy, though, with 28-20, still in the lead here. And they have tied up that experience they were missing out, showing that they can force a fight. Sport Billy in particular getting that charge in.
I mean, the problem with the combos, and that's what you've seen so far, Method has to be the team that makes the engage.
Yeah.
They need to be the one that force the engage, throw out a VP, throw out an isolation, a grab with Maiev, something along those lines. If Liquid can push the fight onto them, then Method has to use all of this defensively, and that's what they don't want to do. So it's all about the team coordination, it's all about trying to have everyone together for a big fight and not being too split on the map. So it's still very much even in experience. When we're looking at the points on the core, 20 against 28, manageable for both sides. Liquid ahead in the objective, but again, you mess up against this combo that Method runs here from Liquid's perspective just once, and you're losing heroes.
I mean, you always have to think about it too when it comes to a Zeratul composition that you picked up. I feel like I mention it every time I see a Zeratul, but this 16 is seriously a powerful moment that your team is always thinking about. You feel like you've gotten to a point where you're actually in the game when you land that greater cleave at level 16, and we're only a level and less than a quarter here before we get there. So Method should be feeling a little bit confident towards that. Just need to make sure they don't fall behind, and so far they haven't.
Yeah, Shard of Hate taken on 13 from Mephisto. As we said, we're going to keep our eyes a little bit locked on that. So basic attacks also hit enemies that are near the primary target. The Harsh Discipline for White Mane, also additional lockdown provided through that. And here comes again a flip onto Bad Benny. Taunt is in. Here comes the cage. The APOC comes through. And there's the damage. And this is the opportunity for Method to maybe take the fight here. But Liquid responds in kind. They stay a while and listen. Rax Maiev. She goes down. Benny trying to at least escape here. But Billy is having none of that. Throws Diablo back into it. And that is the second kill here as Team Liquid takes 2 more kills and is about to claim another objective. Dehaka already fighting with Zeratul to the top. Whiteman attempting to assist, but things are starting to look a lot more difficult here for Method now after this team fight.
Yeah, certainly. Even with Sappers pushing in the bottom lane, Mephisto has to clear that up, and now Ethereal gets caught in the top as Team Liquid makes the rotation, and they'll grab a few more shots on top of the core of Method, putting them down to single digits. A total of 8 shots on the core for Method, while Team Liquid has a hefty 28.
Yeah, this is now the moment. This was really the dagger into the heart here that we just saw. Liquid is now in such a commanding spot. Method had the opportunity for a big team fight and a big combo the entire time, but right now the exact opposite is happening. Liquid were the ones who dominated the last team fight, and on the back of that, they got 3 alters, and that's all that you really need here. 8 points on the core against 28. Method is about to hit 16, and let's just face it. If on that 16 talent here, they are not making a huge play and finally get that combo off properly, with also Mephisto's ult coming through, because that wasn't the case last time, then they are basically doomed here. That's really what their comp hinges on. They have the big power spike right now, but either you pull it off now or you're just done.
Yeah, it's do or die time. And actually, you could probably say the last fight was do or die for them, and they may have felt like that was the moment where they had to get a couple of picks, and Decker Kane just able to stay alive. It's actually kind of missing the VP from Zeratul to try and interrupt that stay while from coming out. That's what allowed Team Liquid to live. Nurok surviving that full combo and turning around and locking down 4 targets. So Method, now on the back foot, looking for Hail Marys, trying to rebuild Diablo, who's at 35 souls.
I mean, even Mephisto not getting his own ult through, the channel time is of course quite annoying from his perspective, but there's another taunt. This can't happen.
No.
If you want to turn this around, stuff like this just can't happen. It's difficult, absolutely, but this is just dangerous. They're trying to save Diablo, and with the attempt to save him, Thero is about to fall too. It's another double kill. Things like this is just not able to happen. He used the Void Prison too. That's another 60 seconds down. After they all took it, it's 8 points on the core. Right now, Team Liquid is in the best spot possible to end this first game in their favor.
And if they find one more kill, they're going to end it. Nick locks in here to a Warden's Cage, tries to get some damage out. Dahaka's already on the bottom for the altar.
And that's game.
Yep, it's going to be 4 shots. Raiders start tailing up 2. ADRD is going to try and delay it to consume souls, but he just delays the inevitable. And that's going to be it. 4 more shots, and Team Liquid shut down Method. Coming out, making a statement, 28-0 as they go up 1-0.
Yeah, Liquid with a win against Method in game number 1, taking the lead.